This weekend started like any other Saturday. I woke up a bit later than usual and gave my wife, who I've been married to for 17 years, a good morning kiss. She mumbled, "Jack, let me sleep. I can't get any peace with you at night or in the morning, and the girls are probably up by now." I laughed and said, "You're right. They're old enough to manage on their own. They won't interrupt us." I got out of bed, put on my robe, and headed to the shower. On the way, I heard some noise from Sarah's room. It sounded like Lily was trying to get her out of bed. I decided to let them be. After getting ready, I went to the kitchen. My daughters were already at the table looking impatient. Sarah asked, "Are we having breakfast today?" "We still have to go to school." I replied, "Why? You're on New Year's vacation, remember? You're going to Grandma's." Sarah looked confused and said, "And you? You're on vacation, too. It's a long weekend. Wasn't it Mom's idea?" I suggested, "Why don't you make your own breakfast?" Lily chimed in, "We could, but Mom won't let us. She thinks we'd ruin the pans and burn everything. All we can make is scrambled eggs." I asked, "How about oatmeal or semolina porridge like they have in England?" Sarah grinned. "Oatmeal, please, sir." I smiled back. "Oatmeal it is, miss. We'll save the oats for the horses." I added, "Make sure there are no lumps in the semolina. Now go wash your face and brush your teeth. Breakfast will be ready in 15 minutes. I quickly prepared breakfast for my daughters. Meanwhile, Emma emerged from the bedroom and went into the bathroom. The girls sat down to eat, and Emma soon returned, her hair neatly combed. I glanced at my wife dressed in one of my shirts. And despite everything, she still had a way of captivating me. Her beauty was undeniable, even if everyone had their own idea of what's beautiful. I loved her. But there was an undeniable tension between us. Emma sat at the table and said to the girls, "Finish your meal and get ready. Daddy will take you to Grandma's." Sarah protested, "Mom, you promised we'd go to the ski center for a week. We've already packed our gear and we're looking forward to celebrating New Year's Eve together." Emma replied, "Girls, we don't always get what we want. We'll go to the ski center during spring break when there's no more snow. Or maybe we'll go to Palmer. They have year-round snow in the mountains. Now, finish up and get ready." I wasn't thrilled about sending the kids to my mother-in-law, especially after Emma's deception about our trip. I noticed Emma and I were growing apart, and it started when David, the new commercial director at her work, showed up. Emma had known David from university, but she never told me about him. This worried me, but I hoped she would stay faithful. I thought about talking to David, but decided it would only make things worse with Emma. Instead, I watched her closely. As far as I knew, nothing serious happened between them, just some light flirting. When Emma sent the kids to her parents today, I felt it meant something was going to happen during the long New Year's weekend. I was ready for this talk and even prepared a recorder to capture it. As it began, I stayed calm. My main concern was protecting my daughters. I knew a tough conversation was coming thanks to a heads-up from Mia. Emma had no idea that I had gone to the bathroom, turned on the recorder, and hidden it in my pocket before returning to the kitchen. Emma was silent for a minute. Then she looked at me, gave a brief smile that quickly faded, and said, "Seriously, Jack, we need to talk." Her tone left no doubt that I wouldn't like this conversation. I tried to stay calm and asked, "Is something wrong?" Emma replied, "Nothing's wrong. I love you, Jack. I've loved you for years. You've been an amazing husband and father. I want to grow old with you, maybe even die on the same day." "So, what's stopping us?" I asked. "I've been thinking a lot, and I believe we need a break from our marriage. We should explore our own paths and experiences separately. This way, when we come back together, we'll have a broader perspective to support our relationship. How long should this break last? A month? A year? I asked. No, just a 2-week holiday weekend, she replied. Is that why the kids are going to your mom's instead of the ski resort? I asked. Yes, I've already made plans with my mom, she confirmed. So, you're telling me that you and your lover dreamed up this whole sociological theory just to get my permission for a weekend fling? I couldn't believe the words coming out of my mouth. Emma's suggestion had left me reeling. Her boldness was shocking, though not entirely unexpected given my suspicions. Still, her words hurt deeply. Jack, I really don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain? She asked, pretending to be innocent. I have no idea who you think my lover is. You might not like it, but you'll see that nothing will change between us. When we get back together, I'll make sure you're happy. Yes, it's selfish, but I have my reasons. I want to grow old with you. You may not understand now, but eventually you will, and you'll thank me. My patience was wearing thin. You don't even know who I'm talking about, do you? It's David, your new commercial director. You had a passionate affair with him back in college. He ended it when he got bored of you, and then you quickly moved on to me. Not a word about him becoming your boss. And you're wrong if you think nothing will change. What do you mean by that? She asked, still playing dumb. Everything's already changing. Your attitude towards me, towards our kids. It's all different now, I said, my voice rising. Jack, I love you and you're imagining things. I still love you. I don't know how you'll explain our divorce to your parents or to Sarah and Lily. What will they think? She replied, her tone shifting to one of concern. Divorce? We're not getting divorced. But I can see through this sociological nonsense you and David came up with, I said, trying to stay calm. You're overcomplicating things. You'll take the girls in when you get back. We'll figure this out. We're not resolving anything. I'm leaving, I stated firmly. But you can't do this to me, she protested, her voice shaking. I can and I will. My decision to divorce wasn't planned, but now it's made. I declared, but I said I was calling it off. She tried to reason. Yes, you did. Then you mentioned we'd discuss it further when I got back. So, you enjoy your free weekend while I drive the girls around. You can consult with David. I snapped back. Sarah came into the kitchen, interrupting our tense conversation. Daddy, we're ready to go. I'll be ready in 5 minutes, I said. I quickly dressed, grabbed my laptop, and threw my backpack over my shoulder. Without saying another word to Emma, I went downstairs, started the car, waited for it to warm up, and then the girls got in. We drove off, and I saw Emma watching us from the window, confused. As we merged onto the main road, the car was silent. Finally, Sarah spoke up. Daddy, Grandma lives on the other side of the road. I know, dear, but you were promised a ski lodge, and that's where we're going now. We'll figure out where to stay. I reassured her. Dad, are you and Mom getting a divorce? Sarah asked, her voice trembling. Why would you say that? I asked, trying to keep my tone steady. We overheard you arguing in the kitchen today. We are on your side. Aren't you, Lily? Sarah said, I'm on Dad's side, too. But where are we going to live? Lily chimed in. Well, stay at my mom's house for now. I'll drop you off at school to pick up your books and clothes. For now, let's put these worries aside and enjoy our vacation. You deserve it, I said, trying to sound reassuring. Back at the house, Emma watched us drive away, then took out her phone and called David, who answered immediately. "David, it's Emma. We have a problem." "No worries. I'm alone. Has your husband left yet?" "He's leaving tonight. He just went to the store. He's probably on his way." "What's going on?" David asked. "He didn't react as we expected." "He didn't believe me," she replied. "Who are you talking about?" he asked. "My husband. I offered him the two-way separation we discussed." She explained. "Did he agree?" "He knows about our past and our connection from university. He's talking about getting a divorce," she said, clearly worried. "That's not good. This will cause a major scandal. It'll reach the office gossip mill and Mia will hear about it," David said, sounding concerned. "I'm not interested in divorcing my wife." "You've never been interested, have you? So, what do I do now?" "Is your husband back already?" "No. He still has to drop the girls off at my parents' and then return." "I'm sure he'll come home and he's not leaving," Emma replied. "Tell him there's no temporary separation," David advised. "I did. He didn't believe me. He thought I'd convince him to go along with it when he got back." "When will he be here?" David asked. "It'll take him 3 or 4 hours," Emma replied. "That's our plan, then. Tell him you've decided there's no separation. We need to let his anger subside and keep this from reaching our workplace." "It will complicate things," David concluded. Emma ended the call, feeling a bit more secure with David's support. She pondered the situation and decided to set the table and avoid cooking. She got dressed and went to a cafe, ordering some takeout. She also bought a bottle of wine and placed a corkscrew beside it. Setting out 2 glasses, she heated up the appetizers she purchased. In the living room, she turned on the TV and settled into an armchair. She wondered if her brief affair with an old flame was worth risking her family. Convincing her husband would be incredibly challenging, and she wasn't sure how much he knew about her relationship with David. Revealing that her former classmate had become her boss was probably a mistake, but Jack would have found out eventually. David had vanished from her life and then suddenly reappeared. When she learned he would be their commercial director, she felt an unexpected attraction. It was just a fling, nothing more. Their first one-on-one conversation confirmed it. David had told her, "Emma, I've always liked you, but I can't risk ruining my family. I'm not ready to cut off contact with you, but it must remain very discreet. You're married, too, as far as I know." Life had shown her the folly of her decision. Their discussions in the study hinted at a scientific foundation, but they had underestimated something. 4 hours had gone by and Jack hadn't returned. He should have been back by now. Emma called her mom and after a brief delay, she answered, "Hi, dear. How are you doing? It's winter and it gets dark early. We're just sitting here with Grandpa having a bit of a disagreement." "What's the disagreement about?" Emma asked. "Oh, the usual. He wanted a drink and I refused, but he found where I hid the bottle." "And you? How are you doing? When are you bringing the girls to visit?" Emma knew from the conversation that I hadn't arrived yet. After the call, Emma phoned my parents. My dad, a retired military officer, answered. "Emma, what's going on?" "Looking for Jack and the kids, right? He warned us about this." "Yes, I thought I called to see how you're doing." Emma said, "Don't try to fool me. Jack called and told us you were getting a divorce." He replied bluntly. "That's ridiculous. We had a misunderstanding." "But we're not getting a divorce over something like that," Emma protested. "It's not just about you, too. It's related to some guy from your work. My dad said, he told me that this morning during breakfast. You proposed a 2-week separation. When he didn't agree, he said you'd cancel it. But discuss it later. Is that what happened?" No. Jack said he's had enough and has decided on a divorce. He's gone to sort things out and won't be back. He assumed you were still at home waiting for him. My dad explained that's not true. Jack knows about the man you're seeing. When I suggested he drive up there and figure it out in person, he said, "Dad, I'm not interested. I have daughters and they're on my side." Where did he go? He didn't tell us. We were so upset, we didn't even ask. If he calls, tell him he misunderstood everything. I did my best for our family, but now I see that I did something wrong. My wife and I have been together for ages, and even in the toughest times, we never thought of separation. Who put these absurd thoughts in your head? If you love another man, why torment everyone? If you're ready for a lover, leave your husband and children. Don't ruin life for yourself and others. Jack will get over it, and maybe he'll be better off. He's not old or unattractive. And the girls will be fine with him. There will be no divorce, Emma said, her voice breaking. That's your opinion. I know my son, and you don't seem to know him. I just need to explain everything to him, and he'll realize he was wrong. He'll call. I'll tell him, Emma said, ending the call. Next, Emma called David, but a woman answered. Hello, excuse me. I'm looking for David. Who are you? My name is Emma. We work together. Oh, I know who you are. Let me tell you. I kicked him out. Don't call him. He doesn't have a phone anymore. Is something wrong? Emma asked, confused. You don't know? I've moved to 2 different cities because of this cheater and womanizer. I'm not leaving this new house. Where's David? Emma asked, her voice shaky. How should I know? I kicked him out. Maybe he's at your place. He doesn't know where I live. Why would he be at my place? He knows everything, including your address. He works with you, but he wasn't the only one involved with you. He had plans to meet all of you while I was on vacation. Meanwhile, I was driving with my daughters to a ski resort out of town. I had known some of the staff there, including John, a former classmate who had become the director. I called John and explained the situation. He agreed to accommodate us for the winter vacation. Jack, anything for you. A house for 3 people is a dream come true. Great. I have a company waiver and 3 cabins available. I'll reserve one for you. Excellent. But I have a request. If someone calls, don't confirm that I'm with my daughters at the resort. All right. I'll reserve the cabin for you. When are you coming? We're about an hour and a half away. The roads are slippery, so I can't drive too fast. Okay, I'll set the table in your cabin at the entrance. Just tell them you're here to see John and they'll direct you. An hour and a half later, we reached the ski lodge gates. We told the gatekeeper we were there to meet John, who then directed us where to go. There was a sheltered parking lot near the lodge, and I parked the car there. We took our belongings and entered the house. John was waiting at the table. Hurry up. Everything on the table is getting cold, he said when he saw us. You're always in a rush. Let my girls freshen up. Wash their hands and explore a bit, I replied. Sarah and Lily took their things and headed upstairs. They had already changed into their tracksuits and found the room satisfactory. My daughters were growing up fast. Where's Emma? Why hasn't she come? John asked. That's a separate story. I'll tell you later. Let's toast to our meeting, I said. You're eager and yet slow, John joked. We raised our glasses in a toast and reminisced, occasionally interrupted by my daughter's questions. Eventually, Lily asked John about other entertainment options at the ski lodge. Right now, there's a dance party in the hall. We didn't bring anything for dancing, Lily said. There's no dress code. You can come as you are. John replied. So, no specific dress rules. Can we go too? Sarah asked. Of course. I'll call one of my staff and they'll take you there, John said. A few minutes later, a young employee arrived to escort Sarah and Lily. After they left, John turned to me. Why did you decide to get a divorce? What happened? Remember when I used to date Emma? There were rumors that she was seeing someone else. Yeah, there were rumors, but nothing concrete. Well, this guy from out of town shows up and ends up becoming the commercial director at Emma's workplace. They started an emotional affair, which I didn't catch at first. He's got a wife, Mia, who decided to divorce her husband and spilled the beans to me today. It all happened. She cheated on you? No, but they decided that for the long weekend, we shouldn't vacation together, supposedly to strengthen our marriage as we age. I've always been skeptical of sociologists. Sociology is for those who can't grasp society, conducting research, and then trying to impose so-called laws they've discovered, which are often just fabricated. I said, "You're right about that." John agreed. So, what have you decided? When I talked to her, I realized that staying together would be unbearable. So, I've decided on a divorce, I said, feeling a heavy weight lift off my shoulders. What's next? John asked. I need to figure out the next steps. A group of lawyers is coming here tomorrow. They have an office downtown. I'll ask them for help, I replied. Come on, pour us a drink. Sarah and Lily returned from the dance around 11 p.m. A ski center staff member had been attentive and escorted them back to the lodge. I prepared a late supper for the girls, and we shared a meal together before they headed to their rooms. I sat on my bed, struggling to hold back tears. It had been a challenging day, and I couldn't forget everything Emma had done. I turned on the tape recorder and listened to the recording, reaffirming that my decision was the right one under the circumstances. Emma had never waited for me and had no idea where I might have gone with our daughters. But I remembered that I had promised the kids a trip to the ski lodge, so that's where we went. I suspected that Emma had made other plans. She powered on the computer I typically used, but her extensive search yielded nothing. She couldn't find any information about the ski lodges I had been researching. The next morning, I woke up to a knock on my door. Come in, I called out, and my daughters rushed into the room full of energy and excitement. Daddy, wake up. Let's have breakfast and go skiing. Then we can go ice skating. There's an ice rink here, they said. Where do we have breakfast? I asked. At the cafe. Wash up and I'll be ready in 5 minutes, I replied. We headed to the cafe for breakfast. After changing into our skiing attire, we rented skis and took the lift up the mountain. We enjoyed skiing until lunchtime. In the afternoon, we returned to the cafe after changing. There we ran into John and his wife. John mentioned that the company he had discussed had arrived, including a divorce specialist. Meet me in my office today. I have a computer and printer, everything you need. I'll take your girl, my wife, and her sister to the ice rink tonight if you don't mind. We'll meet at my place. The girls want to go dancing again. We'll join them, dance, and then return to our cabin. And don't forget, tomorrow is New Year's Eve. We need to prepare for the festivities. Everything was set. After lunch, John and I went to his office. A lawyer soon arrived and we discussed the situation. Anna, the lawyer, explained the current legal landscape to me, which I was not very familiar with. She advised me not to rush into decisions about the apartment. Remember, your girls will grow up and have families of their own. They'll need their own space. If you move into the apartment with them now, a new husband in the future could make things complicated, she said. But I can't imagine living in the same apartment as her, I admitted. Try to picture it and think about suggesting a partition. Anna suggested. First, tell your wife that you'll be filing for divorce in court. When will the paperwork be ready? I asked. No rush. The courts have their holiday weekends, too. I have my laptop with me. I'll prepare it and we can print it later. Additionally, you can reach out to me at my office or hire me to represent you in court. She offered. I like the last option. I agreed. We celebrated New Year's with John, his wife, her sister, and a group of lawyers in the ski lodge's large hall. Other vacationers joined in, and it was a lively night filled with music, fun, and dancing. In the early hours of the morning, I returned to the cabin with my daughters, who were exhausted and ready for sleep. After tucking them in, I rejoined the company. When the main hall festivities ended, we gathered in my cabin, sat around the fireplace, and eventually retired to our respective cabins. The following days went as planned with more skiing, ice skating, and dancing in the evenings. John asked me one evening, "How are you holding up?" You know, apart from the daytime fun, there were nights when I shed a lot of tears. But today, I feel more prepared for what's ahead than ever, I replied. The day came when we had to pack up for our return journey. I had a conversation with my daughters emphasizing the importance of not losing our apartment. We made a stop at the mall for groceries and returned home as darkness fell. Sarah and Lily immediately set about rearranging their rooms, with Lily moving her things to Sarah's room. At that moment, Emma entered. "What are you two doing?" she asked, her voice suspicious. "We're turning Lily's room into Dad's room, and we're sharing one room," Lily explained. "That's what Dad said," Sarah added. Emma still seemed unhappy. Once their room changes were done, the girls got ready for school. I started preparing dinner and breakfast for the next morning. Emma came in trying to start a conversation. "I won't allow any of your boyfriends in the house. You can hang out anywhere else you want. But just so you know, I'm filing for divorce." She then entered the girls' room and asked if they wanted to talk to her. The girls expressed that they hadn't missed her. Jack instructed us to stay out of his way for the rest of the week. Sarah said. Emma looked hurt, but I stayed firm. I, Sarah, and Lily lied separately from Emma, locking the doors to the rooms we occupied. I cooked for myself and my daughters, deliberately ignoring Emma's presence. On Friday evening, a young woman delivered a registered letter to Emma. It was a summons, and attached to it was a statement of claim. After reading the contents, Emma rushed into the kitchen, tears streaming down her face. "Jack, why do you want a divorce?" "I thought we could work things out," she pleaded. "Consult with a lawyer and discuss it with them." I replied coldly. Emma mentioned David's disappearance, hoping it would sway me. "Reach out to him for advice," I suggested, unmoved. "I have no one," Emma insisted, her voice breaking. The girls had already eaten and left for their room without a word to Emma. In her desperation, she continued to plead with me, declaring her love for me and our daughters, but my resolve remained firm. The path forward was clear and there was no turning back. "What does my love have to do with any of this?" I snapped, barely containing my frustration. "I did love you, but that was before I found out about your affair with David, your old boyfriend, someone you never even mentioned to me. I realized it was foolish to continue loving you. You wanted to talk? Fine. Let's talk. Tell me about your so-called weekend. What were you planning? How did you intend to spend it? It's been a while since I heard your wonderful sociological theories from your buddy. So, enlighten me. How did you spend your weekend? Did you have fun? I'm glad your buddy disappeared once more. Let's hear all about it." I finished dinner and started clearing the table. Hearing the clatter of dishes, Sarah came into the kitchen and offered to help. I gently refused. Go upstairs and tidy your room. I'll handle the dishes and take care of ironing your clothes. They're already dry, I said. Emma, feeling ignored and sensing that I didn't want to talk to her, went back to her room in tears. After washing the dishes and turning off the lights, I went to my room. I saw a pile of laundry that needed ironing. Before going to bed, I went to the kitchen and found Emma sitting alone in the dark. When she saw me, she started talking. I was dating David in university and then he suddenly disappeared. No one pushed me into it. Very few people knew we were dating and hardly anyone knew he broke up with me out of the blue. He showed up at our workplace and we started interacting for work reasons. One day he asked me to lunch. At first it was just lunch. Then something changed. He made it clear that there should be no suspicious encounters and everything had to be carefully planned to avoid our spouses finding out. I reluctantly agreed, thinking it was a fling with no future. This temporary separation was meant to be our first and only date. So, you concocted this story to justify your actions. I didn't realize it would go this far. And I agreed to David's proposal. Can't you see he was just using you? Can you really be so naive? No, it's not that. It's been a while since you've complimented me on my looks, my clothes, or my hair. But don't put this on me. Just because I haven't been telling you every day how great you look doesn't justify having an affair. Are you saying you're willing to cheat on me with anyone who gives you compliments? Over the next few days, I prepared for a meeting with child welfare officials. According to my lawyer, Anna, their opinion would carry significant weight in court. Though the children's views would also be considered, I had a lot to handle in a short time. At night, when I was alone, I found it hard to sleep. My thoughts were consumed by themes of love and betrayal. Emma's betrayal left me with a mix of anger and pain. All I wanted now was a divorce. Even though it seemed far from possible, I had lost trust in Emma and our marriage was beyond repair. I also had to think about the children who had distanced themselves from their mother. During one conversation, Emma argued that for the sake of the children, we should stay married and try to make our marriage work. My response was firm. Our children need to know that their parents love them unconditionally. They aren't responsible for what happened. They're old enough to form their own opinions about us. And you need to understand, I haven't said anything bad about you to them. They formed their opinions from what they overheard when you told me about our temporary separation for the long weekend. I explained. I'm proud of our kids, I continued. They quickly understood what was going on between us and your lover. They talked among themselves and made their decisions carefully. When we left, they were very upset with you. Do the girls hate me? Emma asked. For someone with a degree in sociology, you seem surprisingly unaware, I replied. Yes, they know their mother was unfaithful, and yes, they are angry with you because of it. You can try to repair your relationship with them, but adolescence is a time of transition. They're going through significant changes, both physically and emotionally. It's hard to predict how you'll be able to connect with them. In the time leading up to the court appearance, there were many pleasals. Eventually, we faced each other in the courtroom for a preliminary session. We were given time to try and resolve our differences. When the court-mandated reconciliation period ended, I suggested that Emma sign a child custody agreement as part of our divorce. The agreement said the girls would live with me. However, Emma was firm in her stance. I won't sign any agreement, she declared. Then I'll have to take this matter to court, I warned. The court will listen to me, talk to the girls, and make a decision. It's unlikely to be in your favor. You can't be so sure. Court decisions can be appealed, she shot back. Good luck with that, I replied. My patience wearing thin. Jack, I know I made a terrible mistake. I realize now how wrong I was. Please understand that I love you and I'll never see David again. She pleaded. So, you've decided to replace him with someone else? I asked, my tone cold. That's your choice. Don't blame me for it. You're the sociologist. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a lot to handle. If you decide to sign the agreement, it should be done in front of a notary for legal strength, I muttered, knowing the court would see things my way. As the court's deadline for reconciliation expired, Emma made desperate attempts to reconcile with our daughters, but they wanted nothing to do with her. After school, the girls attended their computer science classes and returned home with me. After a light snack, they settled down to do their homework in my room while I prepared dinner and breakfast for the next day. One day, child welfare authorities visited. They spoke with the girls, examined their room, and compiled a report. We attended the court hearing on time, accompanied by our lawyer. Emma entered the courtroom alone without a lawyer, but had sought advice from counseling and divorce friends. Fully understanding the irreparable state of our marriage. During the trial, she answered the court's questions briefly with simple yes or no responses. At the end of the trial, Emma declared she was relinquishing her share of the apartment to our daughters and provided a deed of gift. The judge noted she had already taken her personal belongings and what remained would be removed within a week. Emma requested a court recess to sign the child support agreement I proposed. After the break, she continued, I am willing to voluntarily pay child support to Jack because I understand the court might not rule in my favor. To ensure transparency, I suggested that the defendant open separate accounts for each of our daughters and transfer the funds there. They will need that money when they come of age. The judge clarified that alimony and dividing the apartment were not part of the initial claim, so the court would not address them. The issues of child support and divorce would be decided separately. The court took a break to make a decision. In the end, Emma and I left the courthouse officially divorced. The girls, who had been excused from the courtroom earlier, were sitting on a bench near a bus stop, enjoying ice cream despite the cold. When I saw them, I asked, "Girls, what are you doing?" "It's freezing outside. We brought the ice cream home and thought it would be fine to have in the winter. It can even soothe a sore throat," they explained. I smiled at their logic and asked, "Why did you choose 19 as the age for accessing the money?" "That's what we decided," they responded. Emma honored her promise and left the apartment, moving in with her parents to care for her ailing mother. I agreed to let her visit the girls once a week, although Sarah and Lily were hesitant about it. On these visits, Emma spent time with them at our residence. I spent a long time on my own. On New Year's Eve, I vacationed with my grown daughters at a ski resort, often in the company of John's wife's sister, Zoe. We started developing a relationship, but I wasn't in a rush to make any commitments. My main focus was on my daughters, whom I continued to care for and guide. Zoe didn't have kids of her own, but she bonded well with Sarah and Lily, despite some initial jealousy from the girls. I treated Emma with respect, allowing her to visit our daughters and keeping lines of communication open. However, we were no longer a couple or even friends. Sarah and Lily grew up without causing any trouble. I surrounded them with love and care, and I saw Zoe's presence as something that brought our family closer together. Emma had a tough year as her parents passed away one after the other. I helped with the funerals, but our shared grief didn't repair our relationship. Emma lived independently with our daughters as her main social circle. Eventually, she started dating a lonely widower from a nearby house. David, her former partner, never returned to town. His whereabouts remained unknown. Even to his ex-wife, Mia, who had remarried shortly after their divorce. Second story. Am I to blame for my ex-husband cheating? I'll keep it brief. I met my ex-husband when I was in a vulnerable state. I had agoraphobia and had been housebound for nearly 3 years. Over time, we fell in love and I started to get better. When I was better, life felt amazing because I had lost the joy of living for 4 years. I was eager to try new things and explore. Like a kid on Christmas morning, my enthusiasm for life was contagious. However, after several years of marriage, especially the last 2, I became severely depressed with thoughts of suicide. I lost motivation to do household chores or take care of myself. I stopped exercising, ate to cope with stress, and spent most of my time at home. I didn't have hobbies or many friends, and my anxiety worsened to the point where I couldn't travel without medication. All I'm wondering is, did I drive him to cheat by becoming this unhappy version of myself? Did I fail to be the person he wanted me to be?